What up, guys? So I don't think that I made a video about a bunch of the things that really annoy me about certain synthesizers. So I wanted to make a video all about the random things that irk me when checking out a new piece of gear or something that I've had for years. So anyways, these are the top 5 random things that I hate about some synths, and none of them are mini keys or touch plates. So let's go. All right, number 1, membrane interfaces on synths in general. So we're not in the 90s anymore, and like seriously, I'm not gonna spend too long on this since I'm pretty sure you get what I mean. The perfect modern example of this is the IK Multimedia Uno line, and while the feature set and the sound and price of the Unos can't be beat, the interface as it stands lacks. It's not even the cheaper knobs really, I'm over that. It's the responsiveness of the membrane interface, or capacitive as they refer to it. The manual says, quote, "To avoid breakage, do not apply excessive force to the knobs and capacitive controls." And oh, don't worry, the slightest touch or gust of wind or feather dropping upon your precious Uno may send it into panic mode. And obviously I'm being extra, but yeah, IK looks like they've made a change in the Uno Synth Pro with buttons. So yeah, all my complaining that I did, I guess it did something, so you're welcome. So number 2, endless encoders. And now the main reason I have to put this on the list is because it involves a sad story with one of my favorite synths of all time. And so back in 2016 or so, I finally bought the synth I had had my eyes on for years. And yeah, that's the Dave Smith Instruments Monovolver keyboard. And this is still one of the most unique modern classic synths around. One problem, all of the synthesizers from this era, from Dave Smith, had this known issue: jumping values on endless encoders. And while I attempted to clean them and re-clean them, I bought the deoxidizer and I had great use for a few months at a time, but then I was eventually defeated and I sold it. And could have been resolved if you purchased the PE or potentiometer edition conversion kit. But this involved opening your $1,000 Dream Synth and replacing the panel boards inside, or shipping it back to DSI. I had a flashback moment when reviewing the Micro Freak, experiencing skipping values and randomness. At the end of the day, I'd just prefer pots every time. Number 3, complicated menus on beginner synths. And so this is squarely directed at the Roland JDXI. And while yes, it's still the best value for money full workstation in a mini synth's clothing, it doesn't escape from a menu system that is more like a synth released 10 years earlier. While that's an issue in itself, it's really more about where the product is placed in relation to the actual menu design. And I just think that even me, a pro, had to speak about the archaic menu design 4 years back when I reviewed it. But the Mini Nova I reviewed is 5 years older than the JDXI and has a way more intuitive menu with shockingly large text. I don't think that the JDXI's menu can be approved though, mainly because there's no screen real estate here, and it pains me to even have to dive into it, but you can't avoid it, honestly. I really think it needed an OLED with an entirely different layout for the beginner, but yeah, all right, I'm done with that. Okay, this is a random complaint and doesn't affect a lot of units, but number 4, tip sleeve or TS connections on the outputs of synths. And this is in regards to the Moog Grandmother. And once again, the Moog Grandmother is a great synth and not a bad synth. Nothing I'm saying is about the quality of the synth, but when a synthesizer has TS output, it really kind of sort of gets under my skin, since typically you're getting TRS outputs for most gear in this class. There have been at least 3 occasions when I've been out with my grandmother, and while yes, it's totally on me, I only brought TRS cables because I'd forgotten that it's the only synth I have that uses TS. While the manual clearly states, quote, "Warning, do not use TRS balance cables for the line output applications, as this will cause phase cancellation and a very weak signal." But ain't no new user gonna read this. They're excited and they're gonna most likely break into that Moog and plug it in and be like, what the? So yeah, it's kind of dumb, but just saying I hate it. And last but not least, number 5, firmware or SYNTHS updates over 5-pin DIN MIDI. And obviously someone is saying right now, what in the world are you talking about? What synth are you updating using 5-pin DIN MIDI? And well, realize that synths aren't all new and have MIDI over USB, and heck, some of the original Dave Smith instruments don't even have USB. So that means you're gonna need to use something like this and SYNTHS Librarian or something of the sort. Firmware updates on hardware are scary enough, and I've bricked 2 synths in my time doing firmware updates. Some synths don't even recognize USB 3.0, and that was in my case the problem. And if you didn't notice, we're basically on USB-C on every computer now, so good luck to us. Now, to end on a positive note, talking about the former subject of firmware, I really want to talk about the truly powerful idea of a hardware synth as a platform for upgradability. And I was really reminded of this last week as the Microfreak got yet another firmware update, adding more oscillators and features from my favorite people over at Noise Engineering. And this is on top of adding the vocoder function to it just a few months back. All this was free. It's like DLC for your synth. And personally for me, this came in the form of a change to the slop knob, allowing my Prophet 6 to have a similar vintage sound to the Prophet 5 or F4. And that's killer since like in 2016, the OS version 1.3.1 added additional flangers, plus a ring modulator and a new phaser. When companies continue to support products with features, not just bug fixes over many years, it really brings incredible replay value to something that you already enjoyed. So anyways, tell me in the comments section something you hate about synths. Not that they cost too much, because these were all that I could think of. So I look forward to checking them out. Remember, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Over the past few years that the interface is what lacks, and it's even the interface synthesizers from this era to have the instruments mono evolver keyboard, and this, what is going on outside? The Mini Nova that I reviewed the Mini Nova I reviewed, well, I don't think this, what light just went out? Some light just went out. I feel like some light just went out. I don't think this can be, what light just went out? I don't think this can be, it really needed a, dang, that sucked. That was bad. Let's start again. Number 3, complicated menu synth. Now, I have the loudest cars drive by my neighborhood. Number three, complicated menus. Number 3, complicated menus on beginner synths. And so this is aimed squarely, this is squarely directed. There have been, and while it's totally on me, what the? It's like DLC for your synth and for, dude, can I talk please? It's like, and this is on top of just at, and while this was really what keeps turning off? Like legit, what? Who's playing that awful music outside? Now, stop closing car doors. Stop turning on your car. Drive away, please.